Welcome back to a brand new episode of Gen Z BTC. It's me, Satoshi. And today we're going to be talking about some of the properties that make Bitcoin really good money. This channel is just going to be about Bitcoin education. We're going to jump around from complex to simple topics, probably make a playlist so that everything's organized. So that being said, let's get into it. And today we're just going to go over some of the properties where Bitcoin beats both gold and dollars, so that way you can better understand the value proposition of Bitcoin. And I also want to say this is not the only value proposition that Bitcoin offers. It's much deeper than that, but this is just a little introduction for people who are a little bit new to the space. So welcome. Let's get started. So first off, traits of money. We have fungibility, non-consumable, portability, durable, highly divisible, secure, easily transactable, scarce, sovereign, decentralized, and smart or programmable. Let's start at the top with fungible. What does it mean for something to be fungible? Fungibility is essentially the ability for one thing to be the same as another. So $1 bill that I have is the same as a dollar bill that you have. They're both worth $1. They're essentially the same. Of course, they have a different serial number and everything, but they will be transacted for the same amount, the same value. If you have gold, gold's pretty much valued in weight, so in ounces. My 20 ounces of gold, if they're real, are the same as your 20 ounces. That means they're highly fungible. They can be melted down and turned into coins, and that gold will still have the same value under the assumption that it's the same weight. And when it comes to Bitcoin, my Bitcoin are the same value as your Bitcoin. Now, Bitcoin has a bit of volatility in terms of its price action, but the fungibility of the asset itself, like my Bitcoin and my Satoshis, which are the baby pieces of a Bitcoin, the same way that pennies are like the baby pieces of a dollar, my Satoshis are the same as your Satoshis. They have no separate value. So that means that gold, dollars, and Bitcoin are all highly fungible. So far, so good. Everyone's equal. When we look at non-consumable, once again, everybody gets a 3-star rating because gold, dollars, and Bitcoin are not consumable. They're traded. And even if they were consumed or destroyed in some way, it's not easy to destroy them. Gold, very hard to destroy. Dollars, you can destroy them, but you can just print more. So their consumability is really low. You'd have to destroy a lot of dollars. And Bitcoin is not consumable. You cannot destroy any Bitcoin. Now, you can lose them, but that's a human error. Bitcoin is not consumable in the way that food is consumable. Once you eat something, you have to go get more of it. Bitcoin is just traded. Portability. Now, this is where we start to differentiate, and certain assets start to lose some of their appeal. So gold gets a 2 out of 3 on portability because of the fact that it was so heavy. That's part of the reason why paper notes were created. Because carrying around gold in a satchel was not only heavy, it was cumbersome, it was not divisible. I'm getting a little bit ahead of ourselves, a little bit ahead of myself, but gold's not very portable. All right, if you need to move $2 billion worth of gold, you got to ship it first with a truck, then load up a shipping container, right, or an entire cargo bay. You have to defend the cargo, especially if this is an international transaction. It has to get through the waters. It has to get past the pirates. It has to travel this long distance over a long period of time. And it's just not feasible for an interconnected, globalized society. When it comes to dollars, dollars are much more portable. They're light. They're just made out of paper, and they can be denominated into different numbers, higher units, so that way you can transfer a lot of value much more quickly. And then as for Bitcoin, highly portable. It literally weighs nothing. It's digital, so it's the most portable out of all of these. If we look onto durability, durability of gold is very high. You actually really can't destroy gold. It's possible, but it's a lot of work. If you throw a gold bar into a volcano, you're not destroying the gold, you're just melting it. And if it were to be mined up later, you could retrieve most, if not all of that gold. So gold is very hard to destroy since it is a pure element. Dollars, again, moderately durable. You can get them wet and they'll be okay. Certain bills, like I don't know if it's pounds or something over in Europe, they're laminated almost. You can wash your money, but you can burn it, I guess. But again, the durability of money not only speaks to the tensile strength of the parchment, but also how hard would it be to get rid of all the dollars? It would be very difficult. But still, the durability is lower than gold and Bitcoin. And the durability of Bitcoin is extremely high because, like I said, you cannot destroy Bitcoins. And the Bitcoin network, if you look up what is the most powerful computer network in the world, it's going to say Bitcoin. It's going to say the Bitcoin network. It is backed by the most hash rate in the world. It's extremely powerful and hard to trick. It's hard to beat. Highly divisible. Gold and dollars are somewhat divisible, but Bitcoin is highly divisible. What do I mean by this? Gold, it's very hard to like make change out of gold, right? It's made out of coins, and during bimetallism, which was when they both used gold and silver as money, you would use silver for like your pennies. Like if something was $20.35, you maybe give a $20 gold coin and then a couple silver shekels or whatever. So it's not very divisible. It's hard to get it into really small units for small transactions. Dollars, they're somewhat divisible. You know, you can go up to 100. You can go down to a dollar. You can go down to pennies, which is pretty good. In some countries, you can even go up to trillions. You know, shout out to Zimbabwe, I believe. And, you can make the numbers as big as you want, I guess. But the whole point is, can you make the numbers smaller? And when it comes to Bitcoin, you can make the numbers incredibly small. So every Bitcoin is made out of 100 million Satoshis. Again, Satoshis are like pennies. And having the ability to use 100 million pennies, in essence, makes Bitcoin highly divisible. So that is another reason why Bitcoin's higher up on the chart. Secure. Cannot be counterfeited. Gold can be faked, fool's gold. Essentially, you can gold plate a bar of tungsten with a thin layer of gold and trick people. You could use fool's gold. So somewhat difficult to verify the validity of your gold unless you have very specific methods and some money to do so on a large scale. Dollars can be counterfeited, obviously. It's not as easy as putting it in a copy machine, but dollars can be counterfeited quite easily, and it happens a lot. A lot of scammers who will ask people for change. You got change for 100, and if you're not doing all the extra checking the light, and even that could be faked. With the right tools. With Bitcoin, there is no way to fake a transaction. It is economically unfeasible to try to fake a transaction. So the simple way of saying that is just you would make more money just mining Bitcoin than you would trying to fake a Bitcoin. And this is part of the game theory of Bitcoin. I know I'm branching out into so many things, and we're going to have more videos about this if you don't understand all these concepts. But essentially, Bitcoin is highly resistant to counterfeiting because it's just not possible, which again speaks to the security of the network. Easily transactable. Gold, kind of difficult to transact with gold, like I said, for reasons stated previously. With dollars, it's very easy to transact with dollars. Everyone transacts with dollars in some form today. It's what the world runs on. And Bitcoin is also highly transactable. The only thing is the adoption is low currently, but the transactability of the asset itself is very high. If everyone used it, there wouldn't really be any hiccups in terms of an issue using the Bitcoin network because of how the Bitcoin network scales. Let's move on to scarcity. Oh, yes. Oh, it's my favorite one. Gold is moderately scarce. It's not like it's just all over the place, not just on the sidewalk. You can't just walk somewhere and just pick up a piece of gold. It is somewhat rare, yes. As for dollars are not scarce at all. Now, you might be thinking, well, they're scarce to me. I need some more dollars. Trust me, I'm right there with you. But on the whole, dollars not scarce at all. Why is that? Because they can literally just be printed. They can just be produced. This is what the government does. They literally just make more dollars. If I were to ask you how many dollars would be in circulation 2 years from now, you'll never be able to tell me because that's an impossible thing to know. It is impossible. If I were to ask you how many Bitcoin would there be, what is the total amount in 2 years, it'll always be the same as it will be in 4 years, in 8 years, in 200 years. it'll always be 21 million, because that is the limit set into the code. There will never be more than that, making Bitcoin extremely scarce, considering that there's 8 billion people on the planet and more counting every single day. Looking into sovereign. So is it government issued? Gold, the sovereignty is very low, which is good. Gold is not government issued. Now, it's centrally controlled by governments typically, because if you find a mine or a mountain that has a lot of gold in it, trust me, you're going to be getting some calls from the government. All right, they're coming to your front door, and you're going to have to deal with them. Dollars, they are literally sovereign. Like they're literally issued. They're not sovereign. They're issued by the government. You can only get dollars from the government if they're legit. The government creates the money, deems it as legal tender, and then you use that and you pay your taxes in that. Whereas Bitcoin, once again, it has very low government issuance. It is a sovereign asset. No one controls it. No one's in control of it. No one's in charge of it. And by no one, I mean everyone. You, me, and to be fair, the government is in control of Bitcoin. Everyone is in control of Bitcoin. It's just the amount of control that you want to have when it comes to the protocol. Do you run your own node? We'll talk about this. Do you hold your own keys? Do you hold your Bitcoin in your own wallet? So everyone has the level of sovereignty that they're comfortable with. Decentralized. Gold and dollars are not decentralized. Gold is highly centralized, like I said. Look at who owns a gold mine, all right? It's going to be a private entity. They might have a government contract or whatever it is, but it's certainly not decentralized. It's highly centralized. One group of people or a couple groups control all of the gold mining in the world. Dollars. The U.S. government has a single node, a single point of contact. That is the Federal Reserve. They print the dollars, more or less. Some people might argue, well, the Treasury or whatever is also, I guess, somewhat in control of the distribution and creation of dollars, but mostly the Federal Reserve. They're the ones in charge. They're the ones printing the money. They're the ones setting the interest rate. And for Bitcoin, it's highly decentralized. Like I said, all of us own the network. All of us have a share of the network. All of us have a role and responsibility in the network. You don't get a say on how much inflation is going to be. You don't get a say on how many dollars are going to be printed or how much you're going to be debased, how much your wealth is going to be melted away by people that don't know you and don't care about you. And then finally, is it smart? Meaning, is it programmable? Obviously, you cannot program gold and you cannot program dollars, but you can program Bitcoin. You can send it to someone across the world. You can have it set to automatically pay someone once they have completed a task. You can set it to pay an AI once it has generated an image for you. And as we get further into the future and as AI becomes more integrated into society and sentient, AI might have maybe not human rights, but it's going to have some sort of rights, and they're going to use money. This is where we kind of get into the crazy sci-fi kind of stuff. I don't want to speak on this too much because I don't really, I'm not an expert on that, but essentially you can program Bitcoin. Not only can you program it, you can build on top of it. So HTTP is a protocol that we use for the internet, helps us with websites. Bitcoin is a protocol that you can build things on top of, whether that's wallets, other cryptocurrencies or smart contracts. You can build on top of Bitcoin. You can build things inside of Bitcoin. It's almost like a programming language. Bitcoin itself is not just a form of money. It is a wider branch. It is a protocol on the internet. And that really wraps it up for today's video. This is kind of all over the place, but we're going to keep working. And eventually, I'm going to be one of the biggest educators in the space. Gen Z BTC. It's very important, I believe, for younger people to start getting into Bitcoin because we are going to be the ones who inherit the earth, so to speak. And it's important for us to look to what has caused our problems and then move away from that. We're going to speak more on finance, Gen Z's struggle in the modern economy, and what we can do about it. So this is just the beginning. I hope you guys have enjoyed today's video. This has been Satoshi, and thank you so much for watching Gen Z BTC. I'll see you on the next one.